joining me, Mr. Prentice Penny.
Absolutely.
For those who don't know, producer, writer, director, showrunner, executive producer for Insecure, and of course, you worked on greats like Girlfriends, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Scrubs, and of course, Insecure. So, welcome.
Yeah.
And with this whole COVID-19 going on, how are you holding up? How's your family? Like, what is quarantine life for you?
Try not to kill everybody in my house, pretty much. I mean, I got 3 kids, so I just heard them arguing before we started this. So I mean, I've never been in a pandemic before, so I think I'm killing it. I think I'm doing great. So so I'm alive. My family, I mean, my family's good. Everybody's fine. So, obviously, like a lot of people, it could be way worse, but I'm doing a lot of writing, so that's super helpful right now too.
Okay. Well, started off. Congrats to Uncorked.
Thank you.
So amazing, so dope. Just to see it trending and to see the response is like crazy. And I mean, I gotta admit, I've never heard of a master sommelier. Did I say that?
Yeah, you got it right.
So I know for me, that was my first time hearing that term. And like, thank you so much for educating us and our community exactly about, what it is. So who or what inspired the story behind Uncorked?
So funny. I was not a wine drinker before I wrote the movie, and like, you read a label. Yeah, I think I drank like Wise Infidel, like the Playboy Jazz Festival, like the Essence, Essence Festival. So I was wanting to write a father-son story, kind of about my life, and I grew up in a family furniture business, and my grandfather started it just like in the movie. My dad took it over when my grandfather had a stroke, and then I was sort of next in line to do it, and I didn't want to do it. I wanted to be a writer, and then so I wanted to write it where it was like a blue-collar family business, and like, again, not a writer, but something that felt kind of like a little bit more like creative, or kind of like a little bit more white collary, a little bit more elevated beyond that, and like artistic in some way maybe. And so I went to Paris. I'd never been to Europe. I went for a cousin's wedding, and I was like, look, if I'm ever gonna like wine, it has to kind of happen while I'm on this trip. And I took this like wine 101 class at like this bar. And the guy just made it super easy to understand wine. Like, he made me understand like champagne is the region, not the drink. And then I started just doing research and watching documentaries. And then I started researching how much people of color are in the world of wine. And we are in the world of wine a lot. And so I was just like, oh, that's something that you don't typically assume that we're in. And that's what I wanted it to feel like. Like, oh, he's doing something that you don't assume we're in, but we're in a lot. And so that's really how it started.
Ever since I started school, you've been giving me a hard time.
Because you think you better than us.
You will be tested on your theory.
Well, if I'm no good, then what?
Elijah, this is your life.
How do you choose between family and your dream?
There's always going to be a reason we shouldn't do something. If that's your dream, then do it.
I mean, I would advise, obviously, anybody who watches Cork to pick up a glass of wine. I know I have my little wine set up or whatever. So what is Prentice drinking on? What are you sipping on? Like, what's your go-to wine?
My go-to wine is this wine called Stag's Leap out of Napa. And it's amazing. But one of my favorite is this guy named Andrew Murray out of by Santa Barbara. He does a Syrah. It's a red wine, and it's also amazing. So those are kind of like my go-tos when like I have a lot of those around the house.
So you chose the location of Memphis, and that surprised me just because it showed Memphis in a different light, from what you usually hear or see on TV. And I'm from Tennessee, so I was really glad to see, our state being represented. So why did you choose Memphis? Because I know people don't really pair wine in Memphis.
I think for that reason. I mean, originally, once I sort of realized that it was going to be a father-son story in barbecue, I knew that for the father to take it that serious, it had to be a place where barbecue's that serious. And it really came between Kansas City and Memphis. And as I started doing my research about the cities, because I had never been there, I didn't know anybody from there. What I loved about Memphis was not that the city obviously is like 70% Black, and but obviously obviously they take barbecue very seriously, but also too, like, so much Black culture is out of there. Right, so like from like Stax Records, obviously, which Isaac Hayes and Sam and Dave and all the soul records. There's so much civil rights activism happened there in the time where like the "I Am a Man" posters came from. Dr. King was assassinated there. So once they became that's how Memphis became the place.
Well, you were supposed to debut it at South by Southwest, but unfortunately, you know, the virus shut that down. But walk me through your emotions in the day that it premiered and when it went #1 on Netflix, like trending worldwide.
That was crazy. You know, you go through like the, you know, you what they call like the stages of grief a little bit for South by. So it was all this like, because again, like there's nothing to compare this. Like I don't have anything in my lifetime that you're just like, this is a pandemic. You're like, you've seen like, oh, it's bird flu, it's this and stuff. So you go like, oh, this is something that was gonna like be here for a second and then it's gonna kind of bounce out. Finally, by the time the movie's premiering, you kind of accept it because we had a bunch of screenings. You know, like we were gonna have like in Atlanta and New York and Miami, Chicago. So as those just kept getting canceled, it was just like, well, nothing we can, you know, it's nothing we can do. Like everything's getting canceled. Obviously, I was super happy to have the movie finally be seen and be out, but super nervous at the same time. And obviously people know Insecure, and this was kind of my first thing outside of that in a while. So, you know, that's kind of nerve wracking of like, well, what is this gonna be? So I was just happy that like my friends were going to see it finally. I just couldn't tell if like people were like, oh, this is some bougie black stuff. Or I just didn't know what the vibe was going to be around it, right? And so, but I knew I made it because I felt like you never get to see black father-son stories where the story is not about the dad being absent, right? Like I was like, that's not my life. That's not a lot of black men's lives. But that's the narrative like white people get to make movies where white fathers and sons can kind of just be regular and basic. And I was like, we never get to be regular and basic. And I really wrote this movie so we could be like regular and basic and just kind of have our humanity be shown and it be about our beauty and not our burden. Well, I had no idea this was going to happen. And when I woke up, when I went to sleep Saturday night, it was #8. And I was like, I was bugging out at 8. And I was like, that's it. I was like, I'm good. I'm chill. And I woke up the next day to all these texts, and I was like, wait, what's going on? And then people were like, you're #1, the movie's #1. And I was like, that was crazy to me that the movie was the number 4th watch thing on all of Netflix, which is like, you take into account everything on Netflix. That's crazy. And then to be the #1 watched movie on Netflix, I was just like, that was bugging me out. Because I was like, there's a million movies on Netflix, and to be #1 in 48 hours was crazy.
So I know a lot of people, they didn't quite understand or maybe agree with the ending. Everybody wants a happy ending. Know, so people are like, why did it end this way? So why did it end this way? And can viewers and fans expect a sequel to Uncorked?
I never thought about a sequel. I don't have a plan to do one right now, unless a story, like a part of a story makes itself super interesting to me, then I would say probably not. But in terms of the ending weirdly at first I wrote the draft and I did write a happy ending where he'd pass a test. And then it just always felt kind of false to me. And it felt false because one, this is a test that's been going on like 50, 60 years and only less than 300 people have passed it. Wow. So you can just do the math and go like, what are the odds this guy would pass his first time? Two, I felt like that kind of wasn't the point of the movie, right? Like the point of the movie is like, you don't get everything you want in life the first time. To me, the point of the movie, which is what Courtney's character is saying in the beginning, Lewis is saying is like, you don't stick with stuff. When things get hard, you quit. And I think that's what little boys do, right? And I think what he really wants his son is to be a man, right? And I think what Courtney's character is thinking is, you'll be a man through taking over the barbecue restaurant. Like that made me a man. And what Courtney's character has to learn is like, what makes you a man may not make me a man, but you're gonna have to figure that part out for you. Whatever that is, you're gonna have to stick through. It's really about, I think, being a man and being a woman too. It's like when you get knocked down, what happens? That's when your story becomes interesting. Not did you not fail? You're gonna fail at stuff. If you try, you're gonna fail. It's what you do after those moments. When he went back to school, that was to me him being a man. And like whether or not you know he's gonna pass in the future, I feel like the point of the movie is to know these two men are in better positions than when they started. And that's kind of the point of real life.
At the end, when he went back to, take the class and study more, it was like he was then confident within himself.
Exactly. And that was actually, it's so interesting you picked up on that because like that was the direction I gave him. I was like, now when you're in the class, you're not like questioning. I was like, you're much more confident being back here. Like in the first scene in the movie when he's like, I'm going back to school, he's kind of wanting his dad's approval, right? Like a lot of us. And I think by the end, he doesn't, if he gets it, cool. But it's not necessary at this point for him. It's just like, like you said, I'm more confident. I'm back at it, and it'll be what it'll be. But that was the exact direction I told him on the day. So it's cool you picked up on that.
You did mention in an interview a few years ago that you were trying to direct the film and you were working on the script. I know you mentioned you were even tempted to sell the script.
Yeah.
So here we are today. It's successful. You successfully wrote, directed, produced, you know what I'm saying? Did your thing. So talk about the importance of speaking things into existence and just really manifesting your dreams and desires. Because, I mean, that's exactly what you did.
It's so powerful. It really, really is. And the truth is, it's not just like speaking things into existence. I think it's also acting on things into existence, right? Because there are some times where like you could speak things all day, but it still requires action in some way too, right? Because it wasn't like during that time while I was waiting, I wasn't doing anything, right? So like, you know, I was unsure, but at that same time, I was like still studying other directors. I was still working on the script, fine tuning it. I was still talking to people about it. I was still trying to do the things that I could do to make it. And I think it was at a certain point, like anything, you know, it's your belief in yourself that will get things done. And I think if people believe you, and you can get people to believe in you, right? But you have to believe it first. Then people will move for you. People will fight, and they'll, if they really believe you believe. But I think the biggest question you have to ask yourself usually is like, why do I want this? I wrote it in 2014. We didn't shoot it to 2018. It didn't come out to 2020. So, you know, it's 6 years of a process, you know, that people just go like, oh, I just saw this movie this day and I moved off. It's like, I've lived with this movie for 6 years, you know? It's tough. And I think, you know, but knowing why I wanted to make it made me be more truthful about how I would fight for it.
Love it. Okay, well, before I let you go, you know, I got to ask you about Insecure, because we all love the show. So season 1, we saw Insecure. She was 29, close to my age. She's trying to figure out love. She's trying to figure out life, you know, friendship, all that. And, you know, fast forward now to 3 seasons later, she's finding her passion. She's making independent decisions. You know, she's still trying to figure out this thing called love. But we just see Issa in a different light where she's grown. So without spoiling the season, of course, what are some relatable challenges or dynamics will we see Issa go through in this season?
I think one of the things we're excited about is just seeing, typically Issa's always been very male like focused. Even she's passionate, but it's always been like relationship drama. And Molly's character's always had a lot of work stuff. And what's now is like Molly's got a man and Issa's got work. And so we're seeing 2 characters that have typically been in one area kind of swapping roles, right? And swapping what's their focus this season. So that's super exciting. And I think one of the things we're addressing this year is, you know, people come into your life, Issa and Molly, Issa and Lawrence, and Molly and relationships, and where like are these, and I think one of the things we're exploring this year, which is a big thing, is like, is this relationship for a season or a reason? Because I think it's different when you're in college and you're like, we're all kind of in the same boat, right? Like we're all in school and we're all dating and we're all, and I live close to you, like we're in the same dorm or whatever, our apartments are close by. So it's like easy to have access to you. But like now Issa's planning a block party and Molly's got a man and she's got a full ass job. So like, you know, so I think that's the thing that we're pulling at this year, are like, how hard do you fight for these friendships and these relationships? Because as you get more things, you get older, it starts to pull away at that fabric. And so that's sort of, I think, the sort of theme that we're playing with this year on the show.
Friends.
Hey! LA is just so small.
So small. Where are all the good men at? Where are your exes? Let me run up on them like you run up on mine. Why do I think I can do this?
Girl, don't act like you don't have shit to offer.
Issa D's office, please hold. This is Issa D.
I need your notes on the flyer by 5 p.m.
Sorry, that's right. My assistant's kind of a mess. Sapphire, you're a mess. I'll get back to you right away.
Spencer over there offered me 5 figures for 1 night of passion. Now, I'll take one for the team. Just say the word.
I'll never say the word.
Yes, you can.
No.
The word is...
Enjoy, it's hyping it. Oh God, this party is lit!
I'm so glad to see y'all. I'm already over my mommy friends. They spend so much time worrying about appearances and not being real. Can you imagine?
Oh,
that's crazy.
Yeah, picture that.
Who's
stressed, not you. Who the best? It's you. Who gonna kill it? It's I'm sorry, I can't. Wait, what? I got shit going on over here too. You do? Yeah, bitch. It's like your life, but worse. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. I do got an attitude.
Speaking of relationships and seasons, I know I'm not the only one who noticed that Daniel was not in the trailer for season 4. So I'm just like, okay, where's my guy? Is he gonna make a pop-up, a cameo, or is it just because I mean when I see Insecure, it's like Daniel, Issa, Insecure. So of course you're not.
I don't know. I'm not promising one thing or the other. You're just gonna have to watch.
I better see his chocolate self on the screen soon. Okay. Oh well. Also speaking of relationships, how do you think fans are gonna react to Lawrence having a new boo who basically runs in the circle as Issa? Like, it's messy.
No. I have to watch on Sunday. I don't know how they're gonna respond. I know how I would respond, which you have to see how they respond. You have to watch, you know.
Okay, so
I don't want to give anything away.
Yeah, I know you said once again, maybe a little bit back, that if you were Lawrence, you would not go back to Issa. I know you stood firmly on saying that.
I don't know if I feel that way now.
That's what I was gonna ask you. I was gonna ask, like, now would you still feel that way? Or
I might have had something to drink when somebody asked me that question. I don't know, but I reserve the right to rescind it. Yeah, I guess. I mean, look. I mean, yeah, we all make mistakes, and like, you know, I mean, maybe that's something that gets unpacked this year. I don't know. You know, we'll see on the show. I don't know. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, of course. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Yeah.
Okay. Before we wrap it up, just real quick, real fun. As far as the cast of Insecure, I want to know who comes on set the hypest. Like, who is like always on team?
Oh, Yvonne. Yvonne. Well, it depends. Like, nah, it's Yvonne. It's Yvonne. Yvonne comes up. Yvonne is always at 10. So.
Who do you think acts more like their character?
Ooh, that's a good question. It would be easy for me to say Issa because the character's name is Issa. I mean, there's definitely parts that are transferable, for sure, that are like, you know, I mean, Issa, a lot of it is like her, but a lot of it's not like her, you know? Weirdly, I think Jay is almost more like Lawrence in some ways. Neil is the actor that plays Chad. They're almost exactly the same. Like, but Neil's like a family dude, but that like energy and that pace that Chad has, that's 100% Neil. That's 100% Neil.
Who has the best dance moves?
Yvonne body rolls. Yvonne be body rolling and twerking and all over the place. Like, but Yvonne is the most Christian twerker I've ever seen.
Who would you say, who improvises the most when you guys are like filming?
Oh, Natasha, who plays Kelly.
I can see that. Okay.
She and Issa, it always has like 4 jokes ready to go. Like, and there will be amazing jokes.
Yeah. Okay. And last, who would you say is the biggest diva on set?
Why are you gonna do that? We don't really have a diva.
That's good.
I would say like everybody's, because I mean, I think that the easy thing is like, you know, because Issa's the star of the show, but she also created the show. So like, and she's so cool and chill. So like I always say like it goes from the top down, right? So like if your main actress is like crazy, then it allows permission for everybody else to be crazy. Not that they will be, but because Issa is like cast everybody, you know what I mean? She and I cast all these actors and we write everything, you know, obviously with our writing staff. So Issa's cool. So it doesn't really give anybody else, like you can't be like, because she's not just like an actress on the show, she's also like the boss. So you just can't come in and be like, I'm gonna be stunned on my boss at my job. You know what I mean? So she just sets such a good precedent that like nobody comes in. We've never had a director come in, we just never had any drama, like in terms of like being on the show or being on set or in the writer's room. We just haven't had that. We've been very, compared to other friends of my shows who have had those issues. Like we just haven't.
Okay, well, before I let you go, I know I've told you before, like this whole industry, just trying to figure it out. It's no blueprint. Everybody, especially like in the age of 20s, is like, what am I doing? What is just one piece of advice that you would give to writers, directors, just anyone in this industry who's at this point in time just really trying to figure it out?
I would say two things. I would say one is, and you and I kind of talked about this when you were in LA, which I think is like, even though you know you may want to do 4 things, right now pick one and be excellent at it. Because being excellent at one allows you to transition into the others, right? Because people go like, oh, because people are not going to believe you can do the things, even when I was running the show, I still had a hard time proving to people I could direct. Like because they just don't want to, people see, oh, you do this, so that's what you do. And that's how I need to see you. That's how a lot of the world thinks. Oh, you do this, that's how I'm gonna see you. If you can be great at something, it will give you other opportunities to do the other thing. So I would say like, pick one thing and then do that thing really, really well. The other thing I would say is I also feel like people feel like, and I don't mean this in like a arrogant way, I mean it in a real way, where it's like people go, if I can, and I used to be this way too, if I can get to Prentice or if I can get to Issa and they could just read my script or just meet me 15 minutes for coffee, and it's like, if you met everybody that wanted to meet you for 20 minutes for coffee, you would never get any work done. And the truth is, it's like, it's just hard. It's like, and it's like, I always say like hustle laterally, which is like, help you and your friends will have a better shot pushing each other up the ladder than you will be like 8 people trying to get to me or Issa or the Donald Glovers and leading the race of the world. Not that you can't take those shots, but don't count on those. Those are like Hail Mary shots. It's like, who do you have the most access to? Me and you? Okay, then I'm gonna act in your thing, you're gonna direct my thing, he's gonna shoot it, and we're gonna keep doing our projects together and moving up. So I feel like hustle laterally as opposed to like always trying to hustle so much forward.
Love it. I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, man.
Absolutely.
Great work. So inspirational. So proud of you, and I can't wait to see what else you put out into this world, man. So
thank you.
And until next time.
Until next time. Good talking to you.